Today's gospel reading comes from Mark chapter 7, verses 1 through 8, 14 through 15, and 21 through 23. Jesus teaches about the sources of defilement. Now when the Pharisees gathered together to Jesus with some of the scribes who had come from Jerusalem, they saw that some of Jesus' disciples ate with hands defiled, that is, unwashed. For the Pharisees and all the Jews do not eat unless they wash their hands, observing the tradition of the elders, and when they come from the marketplace, they do not eat unless they purify themselves. And there are many other traditions which they observe, the washing of cups and pots and vessels of bronze. And the Pharisees and the scribes asked Jesus, "Why do your disciples not live according to the tradition of the elders, but eat with hands defiled?" And Jesus said to them, "Well, did Isaiah prophesy of your hypocrites, as it is written, 'This people honors me with their lips, but their heart is far from me. In vain do they worship me, teaching human precepts as doctrines? You leave the commandment of God and hold fast human tradition." And Jesus called the people to him again and said to them, "Hear me, all of you, and understand. There is nothing outside a person which by going in can defile, but the things which come out are what defile. For from within, out of the human heart, come evil thoughts, fornication, theft, murder, pride, foolishness. All these evil things come from within, and these are what defile." May God add understanding to the reading of the gospel.
Please be seated. So I'm going to have a short sermon which seems to go along with the melting of the candle that everybody else is melting too. Our Heavenly Parent, I ask that you come down and bless my lips and bless my words and deliver the message that you want your children to hear today. And I ask this through your child, Jesus Christ. And Jesus called the people to him again and said to them, "Hear me all, you, and understand. There is nothing outside a person which by going in can defile, but the things which come out of what defiles. For from within, out of the heart, comes evil thoughts, fornication, theft, murder, pride, foolishness. All these things come from within, and these are what defile." Okay, quick show of hands. All right. How many of us have been out working in the yard, working on some project at the house, playing games with our disc, and it's time to grab a quick bite to eat, and maybe we don't have something there to wash our hands with, or we just do a quick rinse and grab down something real quick and then get back to what we were doing. How many of us have done this? I didn't know we had that many sinners in the house. Even as kids, my mom used to tell us that we smelled like wet dogs when we come in after play. I mean, she would just rattle about how bad we smelled. And I know that as a kid, I was not that good about washing my hands right before I jumped into supper. And of course, my grandmother always called us heathens. And there were 6 of us, so I think we were pretty close to it. A little history lesson here. These traditions, they were based on an actual need. Now, these guys, they didn't have Google to look up what germs were. But they had a mom in the background saying, "Wash your hands." Because there was a correlation between illness and an unclean body. So that was one of the reasons these traditions came about, was to try to prevent the spread of illness. And let's not get Jesus wrong. He wasn't in for stinky box. He was denouncing teaching human precepts as doctrines, forgetting the commandments, and only holding fast to human tradition. Jesus cut to the chase with the Pharisees. What goes into the body is not what defiles one, it's what comes out of it. It's what we say, it's how we act that defiles the human body. Years ago, I told Reverend Mark that I was really tickled with the church, with the food baskets, and at that time we were doing 2 sets. We were doing one for Thanksgiving, one for Christmas. And then of course we were doing Stuff the Bus, and we're now doing Life Sources, collecting for them, and Lifestyles, collecting for them. And we've got now a reach out to our individuals who may feel uncomfortable with going to any other medical organization to find out if they're testing positive for HIV. We have that outreach now. And we truly participate in gay pride. And we truly participate in the community. Now to me, that's what a church does. That's what a community of faith does. They reach out beyond themselves. And it feels right. It feels Christ-like. Every time we do this, it feels Christ-like to me. And you notice I'm not saying the word Christian. Because, unfortunately, too many times, this day and age especially, we hear so many things that are called Christian, which includes subduing another group or repressing another's opinion. Now, I'm not saying Christian is being a bad thing, but there are times that being Christian may actually get in the way of being Christ-like. We have had several examples of Christ-like behavior today in this room in just a few short minutes. Give them individuals an opportunity for a voice in this service through song. Norma stepped up to the plate, became Christ-like when she didn't choose all the hymns. She chose what people felt comfortable with, felt joyous about, felt had meaning to them. We may be looking at some human traditions which does get in the way to be Christ-like. I work with a chaplain at the plant who is just, in my eyes, I see Christ in him every day. This pastor is a Muslim. But he'll stop by my office and he will smile at me and he will ask me if there's anything he can do to help me with my message to my team about being safe and working safe and promoting that safety, not only at the facility but at home. And he's very sincere in his request to help. Very sincere. I can see it. I can see it in his words, I can see it in his actions, I can see it in his smile. And every time something really good happens at the plant, he's right there in the middle of it, assisting and aiding team members. And I know for a fact the majority of our team members are not Muslim. But I see that Christ-like light in this man. If you truly follow Jesus, you must remember, he didn't hang out with all the cool kids. He met with tax collectors who are, to this day, not really ranked that high in the precepts of both Stephen. He even went around with harlots, and if they had a good heart, he was okay with it. And he didn't mind the smell of fishermen who set down their nets and followed him because what he was preaching, what he was telling them, meant something in their heart. Each of these people he saw was not what they were, but what was inside their being. What is inside our hearts? Traditions are wonderful things. However, they must never supersede our Christ-like walk. When we interact with one another, we need to be conscious of the need to respect and care for one another, no matter their beliefs or circumstances in life. It is okay to step out of tradition and embrace our fellow human being. We don't have to agree with them. We don't have to promote their cause, but we need to ensure what comes out of our hearts is compassion and understanding. Now, this will not be an easy task, and I personally fail on it on a day in, day out basis. But the walk is worth it. The walk is worth it. Now, I promised Regina I would not get political. And I won't. But I agree with Cheryl. There is a soul that we will not interact with on the same basis anymore. And his words are very fitting for this sermon. Whether we think each other right or wrong in our views on the issues of the day, we owe each other our respect, as long as our character merits respect, and as long as we share for all our differences, for all the rancorous debates that enliven and sometimes demean our politics. A mutual devotion to the ideals of our nation was conceived to uphold that all are created equal, and liberty and equal justice are the natural rights of all. Those rights inhabit the human heart, and from there, though they may be assailed, they can never be wrenched. I want to urge Americans, and I will change that to all people, for as long as I can remember, that this shared devotion to human rights is our truest heritage and our most important loyalty. John McCain wrote this in his book called The Restless War. There were times that I saw his Christ-like walk. To remember that this shared devotion to human rights is our truest heritage and our most important loyalty. Doesn't that sound Christ-like? Good luck in your journey this week. I know it will be hard. I know it will be long. But the reward is that feeling of being Christ.